Pluto sits on the outer edge of our solar system, a tiny frozen world that has fascinated and frustrated astronomers for nearly a century. For all its distance, you might think that a telescope like Hubble, capable of capturing galaxies millions of light years away, would reveal Pluto in stunning detail. And yet, it doesn't. The sharpest view Hubble can offer of Pluto is nothing more than a faint, blurred patch of light. That paradox, seeing across the universe but struggling with what lies in our own backyard, is one of the great curiosities of modern astronomy. Pluto has always been more than it appears, small, dim, and seemingly insignificant, yet powerful enough to ignite debates, stir emotions, and challenge how we define what a planet really is. When New Horizons finally reached Pluto in 2015, it was like opening a sealed letter we'd been holding for decades, and what it revealed stunned even the most seasoned scientists. This journey isn't just about answering questions. It's about why Pluto still matters, and why this distant, icy body continues to capture our imagination. Hello and welcome. I'm Orion, coming to you from Infinite Universe NTH. Pluto's story begins in 1930, when Clyde Tombaugh, a young astronomer at Lowell Observatory in Arizona, discovered a faint speck drifting against the backdrop of stars. That tiny dot was hailed as the ninth planet, a mysterious world on the frontier of the solar system. For decades, Pluto carried that title proudly, even as scientists noticed it was unlike the planets they knew. Its orbit was tilted and stretched, sometimes even slipping closer to the Sun than Neptune. And its size, barely a fraction of Earth's moon, made it an outlier from the very start. From Earth, Pluto remained a stubborn mystery. Even the most powerful telescopes showed it only as a blur. We knew so little, and speculation filled the gaps. Was it a frozen relic of the early solar system? A world of ice locked in eternal darkness? There was only one way to know. Go there. That challenge gave birth to NASA's New Horizons mission, a spacecraft launched on a nearly 10-year voyage across the solar system. In July 2015, when it finally reached Pluto, history was made. The images it sent back transformed Pluto from a faint speck into a place, an astonishing, complex, and unexpectedly beautiful place. What New Horizons revealed shocked scientists and the public alike. Vast nitrogen plains stretched for hundreds of miles. Towering mountains made of water ice stood like frozen monuments. And then there was the most striking feature of all, a massive, heart-shaped region that seemed almost symbolic. To many, it felt like Pluto was sending a message, a reminder that even on the cold frontier of our solar system, there was still warmth and meaning to be found. But Pluto's story is never simple. It doesn't exist in solitude. Orbiting alongside it is Charon, discovered in 1978, nearly half the size of Pluto itself. Together, they form something unique in our solar system, a true double world. Their gravitational balance creates a barycenter, a shared point of orbit that lies outside Pluto's surface. To an observer, it looks almost as if Pluto and Charon are circling an unseen anchor in space. This strange dance is rare. Among all the major celestial systems in our solar system, only the Sun and Jupiter share a similar trait. Pluto and Charon are partners, locked forever in a cosmic waltz. Surrounding them are four smaller moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra, each with irregular, unpredictable orbits. They tumble through space, tugged back and forth by the combined pull of Pluto and Charon. Their chaotic motion makes the Pluto system resemble a miniature solar system of its own, with rules that seem to bend the patterns we're used to. What's remarkable is how this tiny world, so small and distant, holds such complexity. Pluto was never the dull, frozen rock many assumed. Instead, it became a place of surprises, a world with diverse landscapes, strange orbits, and mysteries that continue to challenge our understanding. To see Pluto up close for the first time was to realize that the edge of the solar system is not the end of the story, but the beginning of new questions. Pluto may be small, but it refuses to be overlooked. It commands attention not through size or power, but through uniqueness. Every feature, every moon, every orbit seems designed to remind us that even at the very edge of our cosmic neighborhood, there is wonder waiting to be uncovered. When the first images from New Horizons appeared on screens back on Earth, many people were struck by something unexpected. Pluto looked bright, almost glowing, far more illuminated than most imagined a world so distant from the sun could ever be. To the casual observer, it didn't make sense. Pluto sits about 40 times farther from the sun than Earth does. Shouldn't it be lost in near total darkness, barely visible against the void? And yet, there it was. Crisp photographs showing mountains, valleys, and icy plains, all bathed in clear light. The truth is surprising. If you could stand on Pluto at high noon, you wouldn't find yourself in pitch blackness. Instead, you would experience a soft glow, similar to the twilight of Earth just after the sun dips below the horizon. NASA calls this phenomenon Pluto time. Twice a day here on Earth, at dawn and again at dusk, the light around you matches the brightness that Pluto receives from the sun at its strongest. It's dim compared to Earth's daylight, yes, but far from the suffocating darkness many people imagine. Picture yourself there, standing on the frozen plains of Sputnik Planitia. The sun in Pluto's sky would look no larger than a bright star, yet the world around you would still be visible. Long shadows would stretch across icy ridges. The landscape would glow faintly blue at the horizon, and although the cold would be unbearable for any human, the scene would feel strangely familiar, like walking outside on a quiet evening when street lamps have not yet turned on. This is not the lifeless black void we once assumed, but a place where light still finds its way, even at the edge of the solar system. There's also the matter of how spacecraft capture these images. New Horizons was equipped with cameras capable of long exposures, gathering every photon of sunlight that reached Pluto's surface. What our eyes might find dim, its instruments could enhance, revealing details hidden in the faint glow. The result was extraordinary, clear, breathtaking images that showed us Pluto in a way no telescope from Earth ever could. It was a moment of revelation, the kind of breakthrough that turned speculation into reality. For decades, people thought of Pluto as a frozen speck, a lonely rock swallowed by distance and darkness. Then came the photographs, bright, detailed, almost defiant in their clarity. That shift was more than scientific. It was emotional. The little world at the edge of the solar system suddenly felt alive, worthy of attention, and perhaps even misunderstood all along. Pluto had been waiting in the cold for its moment under the spotlight, and when it finally came, the world looked back in awe. Few stories in modern astronomy have stirred as much passion as the debate over Pluto's status. For generations, school children memorized 9 planets, ending their list with that distant, icy world discovered in 1930. Pluto was small, yes, but it was ours, a proud symbol of discovery, perched at the frontier of the solar system. To many, it wasn't just a planet. It was a reminder that even the farthest, faintest worlds could hold a place in the cosmic family. But science is rarely sentimental. As telescopes improved through the late 20th century, astronomers began noticing something unsettling. Pluto wasn't alone out there. One after another, new objects were found orbiting in the same distant region of space. Objects like Sedna, Haumea, Makemake, and most famously, Eris. Some of them rivaled Pluto in size. Eris in particular was so close in scale that the question became unavoidable. If Pluto was a planet, why not Eris? And if Eris was excluded, how could Pluto remain? The problem was bigger than Pluto itself. By the early 2000s, astronomers realized they had uncovered a vast collection of icy bodies beyond Neptune, now called the Kuiper Belt. It was a region filled with small worlds, remnants of the early solar system. Pluto wasn't an only child, it was part of a crowd. Suddenly, the idea of 9 planets began to crumble. Were we prepared to accept dozens, maybe hundreds of planets? Or was it time to redraw the lines? In 2006, the International Astronomical Union gathered to settle the question once and for all. After heated debate, they voted to redefine what it means to be a planet. Under the new rules, a planet must orbit the Sun, be massive enough to form a roughly spherical shape, and, most controversially, clear its orbit of other objects. Pluto passed the first 2 tests, but in the Kuiper Belt, surrounded by countless neighbors, it failed the third. The decision was made. Pluto was no longer a planet. It was reclassified as a dwarf planet. The reaction was immediate and emotional. Headlines screamed that Pluto had been demoted. Late-night comedians joked about its fall from grace. Children who had grown up with 9 planets felt betrayed, as if one of their old friends had been banished. Even some scientists expressed dismay, arguing that the new definition was too strict, too arbitrary. After all, Jupiter and Neptune share their orbits with Trojan asteroids. Earth itself isn't entirely alone. It has co-orbital companions. If they can remain planets, why not Pluto? But beyond the controversy, something remarkable happened. The reclassification shone a spotlight not only on Pluto, but on the Kuiper Belt as a whole. Suddenly, these distant worlds, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, and many others, were recognized as a class of objects worthy of study in their own right. In losing its planetary title, Pluto gained something different, the role of pioneer. The first of a new category of worlds that extend our understanding of the solar system's diversity. And yet, the emotional sting remains. For many, Pluto's demotion feels like a cosmic injustice. It was discovered with hope and wonder, and it carried the pride of being the 9th planet for 75 years. Stripped of that identity, it became a symbol of how cold definitions can clash with human attachment. But perhaps that's the deeper lesson. Pluto challenges us not just to define what a planet is, but to ask why those definitions matter to us at all. So the question lingers: did Pluto truly lose something, or did we gain a new perspective? Maybe both are true. Science pushed us forward, forcing a clearer classification. But in doing so, it reminded the world how much we can care about a frozen speck 4 billion miles away. That, in itself, is extraordinary. Pluto's journey didn't end with its reclassification. If anything, that decision gave it a new identity, not as a fallen planet, but as the gateway to an entire frontier. The Kuiper Belt, once invisible and unknown, is now alive with discoveries, each object carrying a story of the solar system's earliest days. And at the heart of that awakening stands Pluto, the first to capture our attention, the one that made us look closer. Think of Pluto as a threshold. On one side lies the familiar world of the 8 planets, each large, dominant, and clear in its orbit. On the other side stretches a realm of countless icy wanderers, fragile and ancient, still whispering secrets from the dawn of creation. Pluto is the doorkeeper between these worlds. Strip away the label of planet or dwarf planet, and what remains is its role. As a marker, a symbol of exploration pushing outward. What makes Pluto unforgettable is not just the science, but the way people responded. For many, its demotion felt personal, as though a piece of childhood had been taken away. School posters, old mnemonics, stories told by parents to children, all suddenly seemed out of date. And yet, instead of fading into obscurity, Pluto became more beloved than ever. Its heart-shaped plane became an icon, shared across headlines, classrooms, and living rooms. Pluto may have lost a title, but it gained something greater: devotion. Even history had its small twist of justice. Ceres, once considered a planet, then downgraded to an asteroid, found new life as a dwarf planet under the same rules that reshaped Pluto's fate. If one world could rise again, who's to say how our definitions may shift in the future? Labels bend and change, but the worlds themselves endure, waiting patiently in the darkness until our eyes finally reach them. So when you think of Pluto, don't think of loss. Picture instead a world carved in ice, orbiting at a strange tilt, dancing with its moon in a rhythm no other planet shares. Picture a heart-shaped plane shining faintly under a distant sun. And then ask yourself, was Pluto ever truly diminished, or did it simply find a new way to be remembered? Whatever the answer, its story is far from finished. The frontier it opened still stretches outward, filled with mysteries yet to be uncovered.